Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. This is a video I've been holding out on until after I've given it a listen. But about 3 weeks ago or so, I received a Grail of mine. Now, it is not a full-on Grail. And again, people talk about what a Grail means. I think my friend Alex over there at Beer and Vinyl pretty much said, a Grail is pretty much, what is something that's like at the top of your list, or something that's like, you know, it doesn't have to be something that's out of reach, just something you really want. I mean, an out of print box set, or a, um, you know, uh, different pressing of an album that, is still readily available. You've just never found one in the wild. That could be a Grail. It doesn't just have to be, a butcher cover by the Beatles. This is a thing that, I've been aware of now for a little bit, and am currently on this huge kick of Nick Drake. And before you disappear, because not everybody wants to talk about Nick Drake. This is really cool because um, I'm not somebody that usually goes on eBay, but I just did a quick search one day, saw this on eBay going for a very low number. I'll say that. And I say low number. This thing generally goes for decent copies between 250 to 400 bucks. I did not pay that at all. In fact, I was, you know, on the much lower end of like the Discogs low for this thing. Um, so I was kind of worried. I was taking a risk. I was like, oh, is it going to be, uh, is it going to be in bad shape? The guy had great reviews, the seller, and I finally got to pick this up. This is a box set. This came out in originally in 1979. This is the 1986 version of Fruit Tree by Nick Drake. Now, um, what makes this so special? Now, obviously, original Nick Drake records. There's three records: Five Leaves Left, Brighter Later, and Pink Moon. Go for big money. Both UK originals and US originals, and even the early reissues, go for hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. And my goal is to one day hopefully come upon an original somewhere for a decent price. And I'm not somebody that likes, I don't care about original pressings and stuff like that. Nick Drake is the one exception where I would love original Nick Drakes. I think because his catalog is so small that you look at somebody like the Beatles, or uh, Bob Dylan, who have this massive catalog of different stuff. The Beatles, you have the UK and the US albums, mono, stereo, blah blah blah, all sorts of other little variables. Nick Drake, there's not a lot to choose from, and I think that's part of the reason that I'm like, ooh, that makes it even that much more enticing. Um, so this came out in 1986 on Hannibal Records. It includes his three albums, as well as a compilation of, at the time, unreleased demos and um, songs and covers that the audiences had not heard before, on a set called Time of No Reply. Now, I do have the CD of Time of No Reply. Obviously, I own the reissues of these albums both on vinyl and CD. I just got the new box set of Five Leaves Left. So, I'm all in for Nick Drake, especially this time of year. I'm reading a book about him. Anyway, saw this thing. But what is interesting about this, not only are you getting, you know, earlier Nick Drake pressings, which are even still hard to find, even though this is from the 80s, this set is the last time that Nick Drake songs were cut from the original tapes. And what that means is you're getting as close as you can to those original pressings on possibly cleaner copies. So when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I've got to find this. And I did. And I was very lucky. The guy that I worked with, was efficient. He packaged it well. This came in a case all of its own, and you can see it's just kind of one of those, classic 80s box sets. There's the track list there. Not very fancy, and I've got to be careful with it, but it's in really good shape. But it's kind of like that, was that clamshell opening, and then you have the vinyl inside, which I will take out like this. So the records themselves are in just inner sleeves, like the album artwork are on inner sleeves. But this guy, again, great job. I wish I could remember his name in case he's watching. So I apologize, but you did a great job. He had the records packaged in separate sleeves, and what's neat is you have them on the Hannibal record label, and these are all incredibly clean. The one issue that I had was on Pink Moon. The first track on side B had a little bit of a crunch, some white noise, but I think it can be worked out a bit. So that was 5 leaves left. Here you have Brighter Later. Again, you know the artwork if you're a Nick Drake fan. And again, he did this for all of the vinyl. Put them in just paper sleeves, which I will eventually change over to polyline. And then there is Pink Moon. And again, I should also say these records sound very good. Something about the acoustic instruments on these records, there's Pink Moon. Something about the acoustic instruments on these records sounds a little bit sharper than the reissues. All right. And I listened to these yesterday. I don't know how often I'm going to listen to these just because of their age, but yeah. Here is Time of No Reply, the inner sleeve there. This was the comp, and that's where you have some liner notes there, written by Frank Corneliuson. But this was produced by Frank and Joe Boyd, who was the original producer of those original 3 Nick Drake records. But yeah, again, you can find this online. The CD you can still find relatively inexpensive. But again, another cool thing was it also came with this original booklet, Fruit Tree. There's Nick, who, again, we lost tragically. But I have not gotten to read this yet. But it's essays, it's black and white photos, no color photos. That would have been too expensive, especially then. People were still just discovering Nick. There he is, kind of looking like Jim Morrison a little bit. Right there, too. But, yeah, this was just a very, very special find. I'm so happy to have this now. Again, I don't know how often this will be, listened to. I'm just happy to own this content. So let me know what y'all think of this. Let me know if you have this. I think I got a pretty good deal with it. So I'm very happy to have these analog cuts of Nick Drake. But yeah, I'm still looking for originals within a reason. I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars. I'm not going to spend upper hundreds on originals. But if it looks good enough, the price is right, I would, splurge at some point. But anyway, there you go. That's my new Grail. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, y'all be good. Take care. And we will talk to you on the next one. Bye now.